Ha-Jun Park was excited. Today was a big day. The 10-year-old boy from Seoul was going to visit the Galactic Council's main building. He was the first human child to ever go there. "Mom, hurry!" Ha-Jun called to his mother as he put on his best clothes. "We're going to be late!" Ji-Yoon Park smiled at her son's excitement. As a top scientist who studied alien life, she had been to the council building many times. But seeing her son's eyes light up made this trip special, the shuttle. "Leaves in 1 hour," she said, helping him with his jacket. "We have plenty of time." They lived on Harmony Station, the first big human space colony. Earth had only joined the Galactic Council 3 years ago. Humans were the newest of the 32 alien groups in the council. Many alien species were still unsure about humans. Humans learned too fast and adapted too well, they said. "Will I meet aliens from all 32 species?" Ha-Jun asked as they boarded the shuttle. "Maybe not all," Ji-Eun said, "but many of them." The shuttle ride was smooth. Ha-Jun pressed his face against the window as they approached the massive council station. It looked like a giant silver flower floating in space, with long, petal-like sections stretching out from a central hub. "It's so big," Ha-Jun whispered. When they arrived, a tall, blue-skinned alien greeted them. She had 4 arms and large, kind eyes. "Welcome, Ji-Yoon Park and young Ha-Jun," the alien said. "I am Guide Mila. I will show you around our council home." Ha-Jun stared in wonder as they walked through huge halls filled with aliens of all shapes, sizes, and colors. Some had many arms, some had wings, and others moved on tentacles. They all seemed busy with important council work. "This is amazing," Ha-Jun said. "The council has kept peace in the galaxy for over 5,000 years, Mila explained. "Each species brings special skills and knowledge." "What do humans bring?" Ha-Jun asked. Mila paused. "Humans bring new ideas. You think differently than the rest of us." As they continued the tour, Ha-Jun noticed a door that was slightly open. Inside, he saw a group of important-looking aliens looking at star maps. "I need to use the bathroom," Ha-Jun told his mother. "There's one just around the corner," Mila said. "Do you want me to go with you?" "I can go alone," Ha-Jun insisted. "I'm not a baby." When the adults weren't looking, Ha-Jun slipped through the partly open door. His curiosity was too strong. Inside, he saw maps of human space colonies with red marks on them. He moved closer to see better. "Must limit their expansion," a deep voice was saying. "Humans are spreading too fast. Their technology is advancing at an alarming rate," another voice added. "If we wait even 50 years, they may become too powerful to control." Ha-Jun bumped into a table, knocking over a glass object that shattered on the floor. The room went silent. Several pairs of alien eyes turned to him. "A human child," one of them hissed. "He heard us!" "Seize him!" ordered a tall, gray alien with a silver crown on his head. This was Elder Zorak, the head of the council. Ha-Jun turned to run, but the door was blocked by security guards. His heart raced with fear. "Wait!" Ha-Jun cried. "I didn't mean to—" One of the guards reached for him with a clawed hand. Ha-Jun ducked and ran between the aliens, causing confusion. More guards rushed in. In the chaos, someone pushed Ha-Jun hard. He fell against a control panel. Alarms started blaring. "Stop him!" Elder Zorak shouted. A nervous guard pulled out a weapon. There was a bright flash of light. Then silence. Ha-Jun lay on the floor, a small, still shape. His eyes stared at the ceiling, seeing nothing. Ji-Eun burst into the room. "Ha-Jun! Ha-Jun!" Her scream echoed through the council chambers. On Earth, Admiral Tae-Woo Kim was working late in his Seoul office when the message came. His face grew pale as he read it. "Sir?" his assistant asked. "Is everything okay?" Admiral Kim didn't answer. He picked up a secure phone and dialed a number only 5 people on Earth knew. "This is Admiral Kim," he said when someone answered. Activate Protocol Lazarus. Authorization. Thunderchild 793. There was a pause. Yes, I understand what this means, Admiral Kim said grimly. The Council has killed a human child. They will learn what that means. He hung up the phone and looked out his window, at the night sky. They have no idea what they've done, he whispered. Deep beneath the ice of Antarctica, ancient machines that had slept for thousands of years began to hum with power. Lights flickered on in a vast underground chamber. Inside, 12 massive ships waited in darkness. Earth was about to show the galaxy why you should never harm a human child. The news of Ha-Jun's death spread across Earth like wildfire. People gathered in streets, parks, and homes to mourn the boy they had never met. His smiling face was on every screen. A child killed by the very aliens who had promised peace and friendship. Ji-Yoon Park sat alone in her quarters on the shuttle returning to Earth. Her son's body lay in a special chamber nearby. She had not cried since that terrible moment in the council chambers. Her tears would come later. Now, there was only cold anger. On Earth, Ambassador Sang-Min Choi faced the world's press. The Galactic Council claims this was an accident, he said, his voice firm. They say the guard was startled and fired without thinking. They offer us their deepest regrets. A reporter stood up. What will Earth do in response? Ambassador Choi paused. I will travel to the Council tomorrow to deliver our answer. That night, the leaders of all Earth nations met in an emergency session. For once they were united. Old enemies sat side by side, planning Earth's response. This cannot go unpunished, said one leader. But what can we do? Asked another. The Council has technology far beyond ours. 32 species against one. The door opened. Admiral Kim entered with an older man. The older man walked slowly, leaning on a cane. Who is that? Whispered one leader to another. That's Do-hyun. Lee, came the reply. He was a top military commander years ago. He retired 15 years back. Admiral Kim addressed the room. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time you learned the truth. Earth is not as defenseless as the Council believes. Commander Lee will explain. Do-hyun Lee stepped forward. Though his body was old, his eyes were sharp and clear. 50 years ago, he began, we found something under the Antarctic ice. Something that changed everything we thought we knew about. Earth's history. The room was silent as Lee spoke. He told of massive underground chambers, of ships unlike anything humans had built, of a message left by beings who called themselves the predecessors. For 50 years we've been studying these ships, Lee said, learning their secrets, preparing them just in case. In case of what? Someone asked. In case we needed to defend ourselves, Admiral Kim answered. That day has come. The next day, Ambassador Choi stood before the full Galactic Council. All 32 species were present. The chamber was silent as he walked to the speaking platform. Council Elder Zorak spoke first. Ambassador, we again express our deepest regrets for this tragic accident. Choi looked at the alien leader. Accident? Your security cameras show the guard aimed directly at Ha-Jun. He shot to kill. The guard has been punished, said Zorak quickly. How? Choi demanded. That is an internal matter, Zorak replied. Choi nodded slowly. I see. Then Earth will also handle this as an internal matter. He paused. As of this moment, Earth withdraws from the Galactic Council. The chamber erupted in noise. Aliens shouted and argued. Some stood in alarm. Valine, a small green alien known for her wisdom, approached the platform. Ambassador, please reconsider. This is a tragic event, but breaking ties will harm both sides. Choi looked at her sadly. The decision is made. All humans are being recalled from Council worlds. All alien visitors to Earth must leave within 24 hours. This is most unfortunate, Elder Zorak said coldly. Perhaps in time, humans will rejoin us when cooler heads prevail. Ambassador Choi turned to leave, then stopped. He faced the council one last time. You mistake our patience for weakness, he said clearly. You mistake our kindness for submission. This is a grave error. He walked out without another word. Deep beneath the Antarctic ice, massive doors opened in the frozen ground. They had not moved in 50 years, not since the discovery. Inside, lights came on in a vast underground hangar. Ji-Yun Park stood at the entrance, her breath making clouds in the cold air. She had been brought here directly from the shuttle. A team of people in military uniforms met her. Mrs. Park, said a woman in a colonel's uniform, I'm Colonel Ye Jin-yoon. I'm sorry for your loss. We need your help. My help? Ji-Yun asked, her voice empty. What can I do? You're one of our best xenobiologists, said Colonel Yoon. You understand alien biology better than anyone. We need that knowledge. They walked through the massive hangar. Ji-Yun's eyes widened as she saw what was inside. 12 enormous ships stood in rows. Each was at least a mile long with strange, flowing lines unlike any human design. They seemed to shimmer with a faint blue light. What are these? Ji-Yun whispered. A new voice answered. Our answer to the council. Ji-Yun turned to see an older man walking toward her, leaning on a cane. I'm Do-Hyun Lee, he said. These ships were built by a race called the Predecessors. They left them for us to find, for this very moment. Ji-Eun looked at the massive ships. How long have you known about these? 50 years, Lee replied. We've been studying them, learning to control them. Now we need to wake them up. In the center of the hangar, Admiral Kim stood before a group of selected military personnel. The first ship is ready, he announced. Its name is Vengeance. I will command it personally. Ji-Eun stared at the ships in awe. Something about them felt strangely familiar, as if they had been waiting for her. For Hajun, she whispered. The underground base was now fully awake. Hundreds of engineers, scientists, and soldiers worked around the clock. The ancient ships hummed with growing power. Ji-Yun Park stood before a strange control panel inside the largest ship. The panel was not made of buttons or screens. It was a smooth, slightly glowing surface that seemed to shift and move like water. We've been trying to understand this interface for decades, said Suho Kang, the head engineer. He was an older man with kind eyes and hands rough from years of work. The ships respond to touch, but not just any touch. What do you mean? Ji-Yoon asked. Watch, said Suho. He placed his hand on the panel. Nothing happened. Now you try. Ji-Yoon slowly placed her palm on the smooth surface. Immediately, the panel lit up with bright blue light. The ship around them hummed louder. Lights came on throughout the massive vessel. It happens with some people, not others, Suho explained. The ships seem to choose their captains. But why me? Ji-Yoon asked. I'm not a soldier or a pilot. We don't know yet, Suho admitted. But this ship, the largest one, has responded to you more strongly than to anyone else we've tried. Admiral Kim walked in, looking at a tablet. The Council has noticed our activity. They've sent scout ships to investigate. How long until they arrive? Ji-Yoon asked. Less than 12 hours, the Admiral replied. We need to launch the first ship now. In space near Earth, a small fleet of Galactic Council ships appeared. There were 10 vessels in total, led by military commander Draz, a tall, four-armed alien with dark gray skin. Scan the planet, Commander Draz ordered. Find the source of those energy readings. Commander, said his second-in-command. We're detecting a large object leaving Earth's atmosphere. On their view screen, a massive ship rose from Earth. It was unlike any human vessel they had seen before. It was dark blue, almost black, with flowing lines like water frozen in motion. It was the Vengeance, commanded by Admiral Kim. "Impossible," Draz whispered. "That is not human technology." "Commander, they're hailing us," said an officer. Admiral Kim's face appeared on their screen. "Council vessels, this is Admiral Kim, of Earth. Return to Council space immediately." Commander Draz stood tall. "We are here on official Council business. Your planet has shown unusual energy readings. We must investigate." "You have 10 minutes to leave," Admiral Kim said calmly. "After that, we will consider your presence an act of war." Draz laughed. "You threaten us? With one ship? We have 10 vessels, all armed with the latest Council weapons." Admiral Kim's face showed no emotion. 10 minutes. The screen went dark. "Prepare weapons," Draz ordered. "Show these humans what real power looks like." 10 minutes passed. The Council ships moved into attack formation. "Fire!" Commander Draz ordered. Beams of energy shot from the Council ships toward the Vengeance, but before they could hit, the human ship seemed to shimmer. The beams passed through empty space. The Vengeance had somehow moved instantly to a new position. "How did they—" Draz began. The Vengeance glowed with blue light. Then a wave of energy spread out from it in all directions. When it touched the Council ships, they simply stopped. All power went out. They floated, dead in space. On the lead Council ship, emergency lights came on. Commander Draz stared in horror at the Vengeance. "Send a message to the Council," he ordered. Tell them the humans have weapons we cannot fight." Back on Earth, in the Antarctic base, Jion watched the battle on a large screen. It had not been a battle at all. Just a quick end. "Now the Council knows what we have," Admiral Kim said through a video link from the Vengeance. "We need to prepare the other ships immediately." Jion turned to look at the massive ship she had activated. Unlike the others, this one was a deep silver color. "Does this ship have a name?" she asked Suho. The engineer nodded. "We've named each ship after concepts of justice. This one is called Remembrance." Jion touched the control panel again. This time, words appeared on the surface. Not in any human language, but somehow she could understand them. "What is it?" Suho asked, seeing her surprise. "There's a chamber," Jion said, "deep inside the ship. The ship wants to show me something." Jion and Suho followed the ship's directions. They walked down long corridors that lit up as they approached. Finally, they reached a sealed door. Jion placed her hand on it. The door slid open. Inside was a small room with a single crystal pillar in the center. As Jiyoon approached, the crystal glowed. A hologram appeared above it, an alien figure, tall and slender with features that looked almost human. "This is a message for those who wake us," the figure said in a strange but understandable language. "We are the predecessors. We built these ships as our legacy. If you are watching this, then our old enemy has returned, and you are our last hope." Ji-eun gasped. "They look almost like us." "Or we look like them," Suho whispered. The hologram continued. "The ships will guide you. They will show you the truth, and when all 12 awaken together, they will reveal their true purpose." The message ended. Ji-eun and Suho looked at each other in silence. "We need to tell Admiral Kim," Suho finally said. Ji-eun nodded. "Yes, but first I need to understand why this ship chose me." She placed her hand on the crystal. Images flooded her mind, stars, planets, battles, and something else, a connection, deep and strange, between humans and these ancient beings. "The predecessors," she whispered. "They're our ancestors." News of the defeat of 10 Council ships spread quickly across the galaxy. The Council called an emergency meeting. Elder Zorak looked worried for the first time in many years. "How is this possible?" a Council member asked. "Humans did not have such technology last week," They must have been hiding it, another said. Planning all along to attack us. Elder Zorak raised his hand for quiet. We have called in our best military mind. Supreme Commander Azoth will lead our defense. A tall, thin alien with pale blue skin walked into the chamber. Everyone grew quiet. Azoth had won many battles for the Council over the centuries. The situation is serious, Azoth said, but not hopeless. We have thousands of ships. The humans have shown only one. Actually, said an aide looking at a data screen, our latest reports show they now have 5 ships active. Azoth frowned. No matter. We will gather our forces at our core worlds. If the humans want war, we will give them. Va. On Earth, President Jin Woo-baek addressed the world's leaders. His face was grim but determined. The Council knows our power now, he said. But they are gathering their forces. We must strike first, while we have surprise on our side. Admiral Kim's face appeared on a screen. He was on the bridge of the Vengeance. 7 ships are now ready, he reported. The other 5 need more time, but 7 should be enough for our first mission. And what is that mission, Admiral? President Beck asked. To show the Council our strength, Kim replied, but also our mercy. We will target only military bases and ships, no civilian targets. Ji-yoon spoke up. She was now on the bridge of the Remembrance, the largest of the ancient ships. These ships were built for justice, not revenge, she said. We should remember that. President Bayek nodded. Agreed. We want the Council to respect us, not fear us. Admiral Kim, you have command of the fleet. Captain Park will be your second in command. Ji-yoon was surprised. Captain? I'm not a military officer. The ship chose you. President Bayek said simply. That's good enough for us. 3 days later, the 7 Earth ships appeared suddenly near the Council's main military base. The massive ships moved in perfect formation. Council defenders scrambled to respond. On the Remembrance, Ji-eun stood on the bridge. Beside her was Min Ho-jung, an experienced military officer assigned to help her. This is not what I trained for, Ji-eun said quietly. I studied alien life to understand it, not to fight it. Min-ho nodded. Sometimes understanding comes through conflict, but you're right to question. That's what makes us different from them. The Council ships approached, hundreds of them, forming a wall of weapons and armor. They're targeting us, reported a crew member. Ji-yoon touched the control panel. She could feel the ship responding to her thoughts. Target their weapon systems only, she ordered. Disable, don't destroy. The battle was brief, but intense. The ancient ships moved in ways that seemed impossible, appearing and disappearing, always one step ahead of the Council forces. Their weapons were precise, taking out engines and weapons, but leaving crew quarters untouched when possible. When it was over, the Council forces were in ruins. Not destroyed, but disabled and drifting in space. Send the message, Admiral Kim ordered from the Vengeance. Ji-yoon pressed her hand to the panel. A transmission went out to all Council worlds. Her face appeared on screens across thousands of planets. People of the Galactic Council, she said. My name is Ji-eun Park. I am the mother of Ha-jun Park, the child who was murdered by your leaders. We could have destroyed your ships today. We chose not to. Remember that when your leaders tell you we are savages. As the Earth fleet returned, home for repairs and to finish preparing the remaining ships, Ji-eun spent more time in the crystal chamber on the Remembrance. Each visit revealed more about the predecessors and their connection to humans. One night, as she studied the holographic records, she found something disturbing. This can't be right, she whispered. The records showed that the predecessors had once been part of the early Galactic Council, but they had been betrayed. The founding species of the Council had feared the predecessors' growing power and had launched a surprise attack that nearly wiped them out. The few survivors had fled to a distant blue planet, Earth. There, they had hidden their remaining. ships and mix their DNA with the primitive humans of that time. We are their children, Ji-un realized. Part human, part predecessor. That's why the ships respond to us. But there was more. The records showed that the Council had always known about this connection. They had watched Earth for thousands of years, waiting for the day humans might discover their heritage. Ha-Jun's death had not been an accident. The Council had been watching him specifically because he was the son of a prominent scientist. They had hoped to provoke Earth into revealing any predecessor technology before humans fully understood how to use it. Ji-un's hands trembled as she shut off the hologram. She needed to tell Admiral Kim and President Bayek immediately. As she hurried to the communication room, alarms began to sound throughout the ship. "Captain!" Minho called over the intercom. "The Council has launched a massive attack force, thousands of ships heading straight for Earth. They'll be here in 3 days. Ji-un took a deep breath. "Prepare all 12 ships. It's time to end this." The 12 ships of Earth's ancient fleet hovered in space, waiting. Each ship glowed with soft blue light against the darkness. Behind them was Earth, blue and green and beautiful. Ji-un stood on the bridge of the Remembrance. She wore a simple uniform with no rank or medals. In her pocket was a small toy spaceship, Ha-Jun's favorite. She held it sometimes when she needed strength. "The Council fleet will arrive in 10 minutes, reported Minho Jung. "Over 3,000 ships. Are all our ships in position?" Ji-un asked. "Yes, Captain. All 12 ships are ready." Ji-un had shared what she learned about the predecessors and the Council's true plans. Everyone now knew that the Council had always feared humans would discover their predecessor heritage. They had killed Ha-Jun to provoke Earth into showing its hand too early. Their plan had failed. Earth had been preparing for 50 years. The ships were ready. Admiral Kim's face appeared on a screen. "This is it. Are you ready, Captain Park?" Ji-un nodded. "Ready, Admiral." "Remember," Kim said, "our goal is victory, not destruction." The space ahead of them seemed to bend and stretch. Then, suddenly, thousands of Council ships appeared. They filled the view from horizon to horizon, warships of all sizes and designs from across the galaxy. "They're hailing us," Minho said. On the screen appeared Council Supreme Commander Azoth. His pale blue face showed no emotion. "Humans," he said, "you have one chance to surrender. Turn over your ships and we will spare your planet." Admiral Kim responded. "We have a counteroffer. Withdraw your fleet, turn over Elder Zorak and those responsible for the murder of Ha-Jun Park, and we can discuss peace." Azoth's face hardened. "You are in no position to make demands. We outnumber you 300 to 1. "Numbers aren't everything," Admiral Kim said. The screen went dark. "They're moving into attack formation," Minho reported. Ji-un touched the ship's control panel. "All ships, defensive positions." The battle began. Council ships fired thousands of energy beams at once. The ancient ships moved with impossible speed, dodging some blasts and absorbing others with their shields. Earth's ships fought back. They did not try to destroy the Council ships, only disable them. One by one, Council ships lost power or weapons, but there were too many. For every ship disabled, 10 more attacked. "We can't keep this up forever," Minho said as the ship shook from a direct hit. Ji-un knew he was right. Even these amazing ships had limits. They needed something more. On the bridge of the flagship Council vessel, Elder Zorak watched the battle with growing frustration. "Why can't we destroy them?" he demanded. Supreme Commander Azoth frowned. "Their technology is beyond ours, but they cannot win against our numbers." A young human officer named Hyunwoo Shin approached Ji-un on the bridge of the Remembrance. "Captain," he said excitedly, "I've been studying the ship's systems. When all 12 ships work together in a certain pattern, something happens. Something big." "What kind of pattern?" Ji-un asked. Hyun-woo showed her a diagram. If we position the ships like this, they form a complete circuit. The predecessors designed them to work together. Ji-un studied the pattern. It reminded her of something from ancient Earth, a symbol of balance and harmony. What happens when the circuit is complete? She asked. I'm not sure, Hyun-woo admitted, but the ship's records suggest it's the fleet's true purpose. Ji-un made her decision. Admiral Kim, I need all ships to follow these coordinates exactly. The 12 ships began to move into the new formation even as they continued to battle. They formed a perfect circle around the main council fleet. On his ship, Elder Zorak noticed the change. What are they doing? They're surrounding us, Azoth said with growing alarm. Ji-un watched as the ships locked into their final positions. The circle was complete. Now what? Minho asked. As if in answer, all 12 ships began to glow brighter. Energy flowed between them, forming a complete circuit. A field of blue light spread out from the ships, growing until it surrounded the entire council fleet. Inside the field, something strange happened. Weapons stopped working. Engines shut down. But life support systems stayed on. What have you done? Supreme Commander Azoth demanded over the communication channel. Ji-un smiled sadly. What the ships were built to do. Not destroy, but disarm. Not revenge, but justice. She ordered a small shuttle to take her to the council flagship. Minutes later, she stood face to face with Elder Zorak. You planned my son's death, she said calmly. You feared humans would discover their true heritage. Elder Zorak's face showed defeat. The predecessors nearly destroyed the galaxy with their power. When we found their descendants on Earth, we had to act. By murdering a child? Ji-un asked. Zorak had no answer. We could destroy you all, Ji-un said, but that's not who we are. 1 year later, Ji-un stood at a new building on Earth. It was the headquarters of the new Galactic Assembly. The old council was gone. In its place was a new alliance, with Earth as a leading member. In the center of the main hall was a small statue of a boy holding a toy spaceship. Under it were words in many languages, for Hajun Park and for all children of all species. May they grow up in a galaxy of peace. Ji-un placed her hand on the statue's base. We did it, Hajun, she whispered. Your death changed everything. She walked outside where the 12 ancient ships hovered in the sky above. They would never be used as weapons again. Instead, they now protected the peace, a legacy not of war, but of hope. Ji-un looked up at the remembrance and smiled. The true strength of humanity had never been in weapons, but in the choice of when not to use them.